Hi, this is Dave with Powerside, and in the video today, I thought I'd take a few minutes and walk through the operations of the power factor controller that's going to be part of your PowerVar power factor correction or filter system. So this video is for those users and owners, not for maintainers and technical people. This is just how to see what the controller is telling you and information that might be useful to understand what's going on with your system. So what we're seeing here, this is the display you're going to see. This is the default display. And it has, even though it's a bit crowded, there really is some really interesting and useful information here. Starting here, this is the actual power factor on the system. The bottom number is the kVAR required to get to this set point. I'll describe a set point here in a second. So this is the kVAR required to get to the set point, and you'll see a positive or negative come in as the individual steps in this cap bank are stepped in or out. The set point, that's the point, that's the target power factor that we've set in this system, so it's always trying to get to that. In this case, the number shows we're trying to get to a 0.90 power factor, and we can change that pretty simply, and I'll show that here toward the end of the video. So the information across here, these are the individual steps. In this case, you can see that by those capacitor symbols that the controller thinks there are 4 steps of the 8 we're showing here. This controller can actually have an option added so it can control up to 16 steps, but the basic system is configured for 8. So you see here, these are kind of grayed out, which means the controller thinks the contactors are open, or if there actually were contactors here instead of this demo system I'm playing with here. Not demo, but not actually functional system I'm playing with here. So so they're seeing it's kind of grayed out where it thinks the contactors are open, meaning they're not adding capacitance to the system. When they're made darker, that's where the contactor has been closed, since you've added a capacitance. So I said before, you're going to see this positive or negative number change as the capacitance needs to be added or subtracted to get to this target set point. So, symbol there for a fan, which means if there's a fan connected, it means it's running. The temperature right there is actually the temperature at this controller. There's no remote sensor. It's a temperature at the controller. So AUT means auto. There's 2 things that can be here. First one is auto. The other one is manual, and we always want to see it in auto, because manual means it's set up for manual operations, which means it's there for troubleshooting or working on the system. So for normal day-to-day operations, we always want to see this as auto. And here are bar charts showing kVAR in the system. So that's the basic display. And what we can do to get to it, there is the main menu, and it's just click the check button. Oh yeah, the front display here, check button, and then the normal arrows. We've all seen these kind of systems before. And there's also the controls here that tell you how to move it around. So this is the main menu. It starts off at the main menu, and you can do the left or right arrow, and either way it will loop around the circle. So we mentioned before about we're in the automatic mode, so we can change it if you are a service person. Easy enough to change to the manual mode. You click manual, click check, and boom, there you are. You're now in manual mode. But like I said before, we don't want to be there for normal operation. So I'm going to step back and put it in automatic mode, and there you go. It's just that simple. So when we're looking at we step around the systems, and I'm not going to dive into detail on this because it's be too much for this hopefully short video. There's again, manual mode, automatic mode. There's information you can get on the voltage and current for the system. There's an event log, which can be really useful if there's a need to troubleshoot the system, to look through those events this controller has captured as, the power goes away, power comes on, whatever those things are that the system captures. Looking at the actual power in the system, there's and then looking at the step life. So this gives you some documentation as to how many times each one of those individual steps have engaged or disengaged, and it's good for, again, information for troubleshooting and understanding and maintaining this system. The other part here, this is getting now in, this is harmonic information. Harmonics are really important for understanding for this kind of cap bank, because capacitors and harmonic distortion are not good friends. So if you have strictly a cap bank and you have an elevated harmonic level, that could potentially be a problem for your system and for damaging the cap bank, which is why we offer, in addition to straight cap banks, we also offer filters. So understanding what your content, your harmonic content is useful information. Stepping around to I. This is information. This is stuff like revision level of the software, just stuff for maintaining the controller itself or understanding what it is. Just you'd see for any kind of control device. So these last two things, or last three, the last two. This is the setup menu. This is something that you or I, as a user, would never really want to go into. This is the menu that the factory goes through to configure this controller for your specific site. This is something you only want to get into that if you are a service technician from Powerside, or someone who has read and thoroughly understands the manual on how all this works. Just for general users, don't go here. It's just it's getting information. We could potentially mess things up. Same thing for commands menu. Again, don't go here as a user. This is great information, but only if you are a service person. And then password entry, the default from the factory, this system is password capable, but it comes in with nothing as the password, so there's no password required. But if you've got a site where this is out in an area where you are concerned about security and someone coming up and punching buttons and playing, then maybe you want to set a password. So, and that's it. We've looped back around to the main page, and I'm going to click this, and we're back to the main page. So the one thing I did say I would do is show you how to actually change this set point, because this is something we may want to do just as a user, because again, the purpose of power factor correction is to keep the power factor below the point where you have power factor penalties on your electrical utility bill. And if something has changed in your site where you may be getting close to that area where you're getting close to having power factor penalties again, then you may want to change the setting by a little bit and pay attention. So easy enough to do. So all we're going to do is we're going to use the up arrow, and I think it's 3 times. Yep, it's 3 times. And here it is. We can set the power factor, and it's easy enough to do. So it's, as we saw before, it was set for 0.9. And by using the arrow, I can change it to, whatever. So we had 0.9, and just for this example, I'm going to reset it to 0.95. I've done that. I hit the check button, and we look here at the main menu, and son of a gun, it's showing 0.95. So that's the controller for the Powerside PowerVar power factor control systems, or power factor systems. This is the controller and information you might want to use as a user or owner of this system. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you in the next video.